Good afternoon. So today I would like to talk about the Koh-i-Noor diamond, how it came to the possession of a Sikh Maharaja called Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and ultimately how did the East India Company of Britain possess it, and after that how the diamond had reached Britain and ultimately finds its place in front of the crown, the British crown, which still is today. So the so today's video will be about uh, how uh, how Maharaja Ranjit Singh had treated the diamond, what he thought about the diamond, and what were the arrangements made for the protection of the diamond, and also about how the East India Company had treated the diamond. But even before entering this core of the story of the Koh-i-Noor diamond, I have to give some background as to how Maharaja Ranjit Singh began, got the diamond in the first place in the 19th century. In 1813, the transfer of the diamond, the Koh-i-Noor diamond, would be shifted from a former king of Afghanistan, to Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So I would like to give a background as to how this transfer happened, and for that I would like to go back in time in 1635. So on 1635, there was this peacock throne that was built during the reign of Shah Jahan, the Mughal emperor who was ruling India at that time. And this peacock throne was a golden peacock throne, and it had two peacocks on the top of its roof. And and on one of the peacocks, it is said that it is true that on one of the peacocks the Koh-i-Noor diamond was placed, and on the other there was a ruby. It was called the Taimur ruby. So until then, how the Koh-i-Noor diamond even found a place in the Mughal treasury, the, there is some information about that, but it is more of a speculation than what exactly than the information about the origin of the diamond itself. So that's why I prefer to start from 1635, when the peacock throne was built. It was a golden peacock throne, and it had a lot of precious stones which were embellished within and outside the throne, and it was a very costly throne. So Shah Jahan got it built, and if I were to go a little forward in time, between 1657 to 1707, there was a French traveler called Francois Tavernier who would visit the court, or who would visit the court of Aurangzeb, the the son of Shah Jahan, and he would be the Mughal emperor who would be ruling large part of India. And at this time, the French traveler Tavernier would see the Koh-i-Noor diamond at the top of the peacock throne, on one of the peacocks, but at a certain distance. So I'm just quoting the various evidences where different people had seen this diamond, to exactly know the how the how diamond had uh, passed its transfer from one dynasty to another, and from one king to another. So I talked about the reign of Aurangzeb. At this time, Tavernier would see that diamond, and later, after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, there would be a gradual disintegration of the Mughal Empire. There would be the formation of semi-autonomous independent kingdoms, which would have some nominal allegiance to the Mughal Empire. At this time, if I were to go forward in time after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707 to 1719, there was a Mughal emperor who was sitting on the throne. His name was Muhammad Shah. Muhammad Shah would rule India. I mean, he was not a powerful ruler, and he would rule India from 1719 to 1748. During his reign in 1739, because he was not a powerful ruler, and because there was a lot of decentralization of power, and there would be the formation of independent kingdoms, India was uh, and uh, and and the Mughal Empire was weak at that time. Ultimately, that's what I want to say. And at that time, in 1739, because the Mughal Empire was weak, there was there was an invasion of the Mughal Empire in Delhi, and the invasion was done by a king called Nadir Shah, who would come from Iran. He actually would have control of Iran and Afghanistan and also northern India and parts of Central Asia. Not so sure about Afghanistan, but it extended from Iran and parts of Central Asia and northern India. And he would enter India, and ultimately this was his territory. And in 1739, he would enter India, and he would enter Delhi also, and in a bid to plunder the wealth of Delhi. The Mughal Empire was still a very rich empire at that time. So he would enter Delhi on March 1739, and at this time his soldiers would go on plundering in the streets of Delhi, and there was an argument between the soldiers and the citizens of Delhi because of such kind of a plunder, and there was a rumor that went about which said that Nadir Shah had been assassinated by a palace guard. But it was only a rumor, and because of that rumor, the mob in Delhi, the people of Delhi, started killing the Persian soldiers, and there were these 900 Persian soldiers who were killed. And after this incident, Nadir Shah had ordered a large-scale massacre of Delhi. And it was at this time, after such a large-scale brutal bloodshed, where there was a need to stop it. He would say that he would only stop it if he would get a money of 100 crores. So in effect, he demanded 100 crores from Muhammad Shah to stop the large-scale massacre of Delhi. He would receive the 100 crores. As a part of those 100 crores, the Peacock throne would also be shifted from the possession of the Mughal Empire to Nadir Shah. When Nadir Shah leaves Delhi after 57 days of bloodshed, he would leave with 700 elephants and 4,000 camels and 12,000 horses, which would be pulling wagons of wealth, wagons of gold, silver, precious stone, emerald, and of course the Peacock throne. He would reinstate Muhammad Shah. He would let Muhammad Shah rule Delhi, but he himself would leave to Iran once again. Nadir Shah would leave to Iran. Nadir Shah, once he reaches Iran, while he starts ruling his kingdom, he would pick the two precious stones on the top of the roof of the Peacock throne, the Koh-i-Noor diamond and the Taimur ruby. So both of them would be taken out from the heads of the peacock, and they would be worn on the arm, over the arm of Nadir Shah. And Nadir Shah, as I told you, would be ruling entirely. His entire reign started from consisted of years between 1736 to 1747. In 1747, he would be assassinated, and he would rule a region from Iran, the entire Iran region, to northern India, to parts of Central Asia. And ultimately, when he would be assassinated in 1747 because of an internal rebellion at a place called Khorasan, which is now at the intersection of three different countries, that is Afghanistan, Iran, and Turkmenistan. At this rebellion, he would be assassinated by his own troops, and this would happen in 1747. During this time, there was this senior general of Nadir Shah called Ahmad Shah Abdali, and he would be controlling the Afghan troops and many other groups of troops, and he was a senior general. And when Nadir Shah was encountering the rebellion from his troops, Ahmad Shah Abdali would be protecting the ladies of the palace of Nadir Shah, and he would also protect the coffers of the kingdom of Nadir Shah from the rebellious people. And in return for this protection, the first lady of the palace of Nadir Shah would give the ruby, the Koh-i-Noor diamond, and also another diamond to Ahmad Shah Abdali, and with this Ahmad Shah Abdali would leave Iran, and he would go to a place called Kandahar with his Afghan troops successfully, and in 1747 he would become he would found the region of present day Afghanistan, and he would become the king of Afghanistan, and he would center himself at this place Kandahar. So until now, we have seen that there was a lot of value that is given to two precious stones. One is the ruby, other is the Koh-i-Noor diamond. The ruby was called the Timur ruby, and ruby had a better place in the minds of the Mughal emperors than the Koh-i-Noor diamond at that time. Koh-i-Noor diamond only rose to prominence later in the 19th century when the tastes of people had changed. You could also see that Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali would wear the precious stones over their arms, both the precious stones over their arms, and Ahmad Shah Abdali would rule from 1747 to 1772, and he would rule regions of Afghanistan, Pakistan, northeastern Iran, and also parts of Kashmir and Delhi sometimes. And after that, I would like to take you forward in time a little bit. His own son Taimur Shah would also treat the diamond and the ruby in the way his father has done, in the way Nadir Shah had done. And if I were to move forward a little from 1772, after the death of Ahmad Shah Abdali, to 1793, you would find a person sitting on the throne of Afghanistan, sitting at a capital, not at Kandahar, which was the capital of Ahmad Shah Abdali, but at Kabul. And he was the grandson of Ahmad Shah Abdali. And he himself would possess these two precious stones, and he also would be wearing it with the same prestige, the same feeling of prestige that his father Taimur Shah and his grandfather had felt about the diamond. And this person, the name of this person was Shah Zaman, and Shah Zaman would rule Afghanistan from 1793 to 1801. So he would rule Afghanistan, majorly the present day Afghanistan, parts of Pakistan, and also would have a nominal influence over certain regions. Of Punjab and northern Iran. So you can really see that the dynasty that was founded by Ahmad Shah Abdali, which is called the Durrani Empire, was diminishing. By the time it was founded in 1747, and in 1801 it would shrink to a very its territories would be cut down. And I told you the territories which were ultimately governed by the grandson of Ahmad Shah Abdali, Shah Zaman, and he would rule majorly Afghanistan and parts of Pakistan, and nominal influence over Punjab and northern Iran, the Persian region. And at the same time, in 1801, there would be a rebellion, just like Nadir Shah had a rebellion in his own kingdom in Khorasan. Shah Zaman would have a rebellion which would be orchestrated by his half-brother called Muhammad Shah in 1801, and ultimately Shah Zaman would be deposed of his throne, and he would be imprisoned. And at the same time, he would carry the two precious stones with himself. He would also keep the Koh-i-Noor diamond in one of the cracks in the walls of the prison, and the Timur ruby, he already hid it underneath a certain rock, underneath a certain stream near a certain fort called Shinwari Fort. So this way you can also once again see that how much these two precious stones meant for the kings who possessed these stones. Ultimately, once Muhammad Shah had deposed of his half-brother Shah Zaman, in 1803, the blood brother of Shah Zaman, called Shah Suja, would ascend the throne. He would depose of Muhammad Shah, and he was ascend the throne of Kabul. At this time, he wanted the two precious stones back so that he could wear it just like his great great grandfather Ahmad Shah Abdali and his father Taimur Shah and his grandfather Taimur Shah and his father Shah Jaman would wear it. So he would send some trusted people to find these two precious stones, and ultimately these trusted people would find the Koh-i-Noor diamond in the possession of a Muslim religious person called Mullah. And this Muslim religious person would, uh, ignorant of the value of the diamond, would use it like a paperweight, and it would be taken away from him by these trusted messengers of Shah Shuja. So this was about the Koh-i-Noor diamond. And the ruby would also be found in the possession of a Muslim student who would come to bathe in the stream where Shah Zaman had hid the ruby, and the student would come there to wash his clothes, and the ruby would be taken from this student as well. Ultimately, Shah Suja would get back the precious possession of his dynasty, the Durrani dynasty. So the evidence of this, the evidence of the possession of the two stones, can be found if one were to go to 1805. In 1804, in a place called Peshawar in present-day Pakistan, which was also in the possession of Shah Suja. In that place, Shah Suja would hold a court of nobles and probably even public audience called a darbar. And at this darbar, there would be a British ambassador who would witness this darbar, and the name of this British ambassador was Mount Stuart Elphinstone, and he would see the Koh-i-Noor diamond, which was located, according to him, on the bracelet worn by Shah Suja on his arms, and he would find the Koh-i-Noor diamond. So far I've talked about the various evidences of where the Koh-i-Noor diamond had been found. Firstly, during the reign of Aurangzeb, it was Tavernier who had found the Koh-i-Noor diamond at a distance. And now, in this case, a British representative would come to the court of Shah Suja and find the diamond on the bracelet of Shah Suja. If you were to go a little forward, I told you that Shah Suja had reigned Afghanistan, or the region that he would ultimately reign, that is Afghanistan and Pakistan, between 1803 to 1809. At 1809, there was again an internal rebellion, just like his brother had encountered in 1801, which was orchestrated by the half-brother of Shah Jaman. In this case also in 1809, it was the half-brother of Shah Jaman, Muhammad Shah, who would orchestrate a rebellion against the king Shah Suja, and he would ultimately depose him off from the throne. At 1809, Shah Suja would no longer have his throne. He would be exiled. He would be in exile, and he would try to find allies and troops to get back his kingdom. At this time, there was a Maharaja of Punjab in the northwestern part of India who would welcome Shah Suja to his capital called Lahore. At 1810, Shah Suja and Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who was the king of the Punjab at that time, would meet. They would exchange some pleasantries. Shah Suja would give him some precious stones, give some precious stones to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and Ranjit Singh would give some gifts to Shah Suja. But at the same time, it was known that Ranjit Singh coveted, Maharaja Ranjit Singh had deeply coveted the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Shah Suja himself was quite circumspect or suspicious about Ranjit Singh's overly friendly attitude, and he decided that he'll not take any shelter in the court under the protection of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, or ask for the troops of Maharaja Ranjit Singh to get back his throne in Kabul. But nevertheless, Shah Suja would go a little north of Punjab to Kashmir to try to find some allies and some troops. so that he could get back his throne. But meanwhile, he would also keep his family under the protection of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Lahore. And not only his family, he would also give the Koh-i-Noor diamond to his wife Wafa Begum and leave north to Kashmir to find allies. While while he was away, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, as I told you, coveted the Koh-i-Noor diamond, and he would repeatedly request or demand the Koh-i-Noor diamond from the wife of Shah Shuja, Wafa Begum. Wafa Begum would repeatedly refuse giving the Koh-i-Noor diamond, and Ranjit Singh would keep demanding the diamond through his messengers, and, and Wafa Begum would keep refusing uh, to part away, would not want to part away from the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Ultimately, after repeated demands, what were it was decided that from the side of Wafa Begum, the wife of Shah Shuja, it was decided that uh, even before that, even before the offer, I have to tell you one more incident that happened. I told you that Shah Zaman had gone north to Kashmir and some other places to find allies. But in Kashmir, there was a governor called Atta Muhammad who would who would imprison Shah Shuja because he was his enemy, and he would be imprisoned for 3 years, from 1810 to 1813 possibly. And so now coming back to the story of Wafa Begum in Lahore, where Ranjit Singh was continually demanding the Koh-i-Noor and wanted to know where it was. Wafa Begum, after repeated refusal to give the Koh-i-Noor to Ranjit Singh, would make an offer. I think you can by this time guess what that offer is. If Ranjit Singh had sent an army to bring back Shah Shuja from his imprisonment, then the Koh-i-Noor diamond would be transferred from Wafa Begum or from the dynasty of Durrani to Ranjit Singh. So that was the offer that was made by Wafa Begum. Ranjit Singh accepted the offer. In the spring of 1813, Ranjit Singh would send a expedition to Kashmir. He would invade Kashmir. He would defeat Atta Muhammad. He would uh, he would release Shah Shuja from the prison and bring back Shah Shuja to Lahore. But Shah Shuja was quite happy about his release, but not for too long, because Ranjit Singh would demand the diamond and Shah Shuja was not ready to part with the diamond. So Ranjit Singh would carry out some restrictions, would impose some restrictions on Shah Shuja while he was in Lahore. He would keep Shah Shuja in an isolated area away from his family. He would ensure that the food, Maharaja Ranjit Singh would ensure that the food and water was restricted, not so regular. Even the servants of Shah Shuja were not allowed to go out sometimes to bring certain things for the king, for the former king of Afghanistan. So these were some restrictions placed until possibly the diamond would be shifted, the possession of the diamond would be shifted from Shah Shuja to Maharaja Ranjit Singh. All these restrictions did not work. Maharaja Ranjit Singh would up his ante a little. What he would do was he would make the elder son of Shah Shuja, who was a young person, he would make the elder son run on the hot roof of the palace barefoot. He would be made to climb up the ladders and back down again and run on the roof. And this elder son, being a young person, brought up in a delicate environment, could not bear the pain that he was feeling, and he would cry out, and Shah Shuja would ultimately did not want to see his son suffer like this, and would ultimately come forward to make an offer. And it was an offer, means there would be conditions, and the conditions for the transfer of the diamond were made, and the conditions were, I think even this you can guess a little bit once again, because Shah Shuja did not find any allies or troops, or enough of them, or did not find the allies and troops to defend, to attack to get back his throne in Kabul. He would want a treaty of friendship to be signed between Shah Shuja and Maharaja Ranjit Singh, giving a guarantee that the troops of Maharaja Ranjit Singh uh, would help Shah Shuja to gain back his kingdom, gain back his throne in Kabul. Not only that, Shah Shuja also demanded some lakhs of rupees in return for the transfer of Koh-i-Noor. So there were these two conditions that Maharaja Ranjit Singh uh, had to accept. He would not accept immediately, but there was some time. In the meanwhile, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, after these offers were made, Maharaja Ranjit Singh would send his minister Ram Singh to the place of stay of Shah Shuja, and Ram Singh would demand the diamond, and Shah Shuja would keep repeating the same demands. And after a few days, some of the officials would reach his place and ask him what was the money, how much money that Shah Shuja wanted. And later, the money would be arranged in installments. And on one fine particular day, Maharaja Ranjit Singh himself would come to the place of stay of Shah Shuja with a document. And this document was the Treaty of Friendship between Shah Shuja and Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Maharaja Ranjit Singh, with this document, was agreed to provide his troops to gain back control of Kabul, to be able to help Shah Shuja to cull off any rebellions in his kingdom again. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh would come there. He would put his palm inside a saffron water, and give a seal, or press it on the written document that he had brought, and with that he would swear on his sacred book, the Adi Granth, saying that he would provide help to Shah Shuja to regain back his kingdom, and ultimately with that document and with that seal, or the imprint of the palms, the friendship was sealed. And now Maharaja Ranjit Singh wanted the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Shah Shuja would take 2 more months to transfer the possession. I told you that on 1813, Maharaja Ranjit Singh had sent an expedition to Kashmir, and he would bring back Shah Shuja. And now in 1 June 1813, after a few months, Maharaja Ranjit Singh would go to the palace of Shah Shuja at a place called Mubarak Haveli at the center of Lahore, and there Shah Shuja would welcome him, very happy, and both of the people will be with their attendants in that Haveli, with their attendants. And there the two people will sit down at the place of stay of Shah Shuja. They wouldn't talk much for 1 hour until Maharaja Ranjit Singh would get impatient and ask one of his attendants to tell Shah Shuja of the reason of the visit of King Maharaja Ranjit Singh. His attendant would go and tell Shah Shuja, and Shah Shuja with his eyes would signal one of his own attendants, and his attendant would bring a particular roll towards the two people and place it in the middle of them, and there, once the roll was opened by one of the attendants of Maharaja Ranjit Singh would be extremely delighted to see the Koh-i-Noor diamond, and he would see it and leave the place. Maharaja Ranjit Singh would get the diamond on 1st June 1813. He would go back to his place, but at the same time he would also be suspicious about the diamond, because he even thought that Shah Shuja might have tricked him into believing that the diamond that was transferred was an original one, whereas it could have been a fake one. So therefore Maharaja Ranjit Singh made arrangements to ensure that the jewelers of Lahore would come to his court and check the diamond. The jewelers would attest, saying that it was a genuine diamond and it was a priceless one. Maharaja Ranjit Singh, with his own diamond, would come to the court in Lahore in the presence of his courtiers and officials. They would congratulate him for possessing the diamond. For Maharaja Ranjit Singh, more than its beauty and value, this diamond was a sign, was a symbol of sovereignty of the Sikh kingdom over the past rulers of the same territory, the rulers of the Durrani dynasty, which was started by Ahmad Shah Abdali, who conquered some parts of India, and now the eastern provinces of Afghanistan was under Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and it was a symbol of sovereignty over the Durrani dynasty, the Koh-i-Noor diamond. That was what it was for the Maharaja. Maharaja would still be suspicious despite the jewelers of Lahore having checked it. He still wanted to confirm the genuine, uh, whether the gem was genuine or not. One day when he was in Amritsar, he would ask the jewelers, principal jewelers, to come and check the diamond. They would also say that it was a priceless one and a genuine one. He would also beautify the diamond in front of his eyes so that it should always be with him. So therefore, in front of his eyes, and he would climb on an elephant and put it on his turban and move up and down the streets of Amritsar to show his possession to the people of Amritsar. So he also was intent on showing this precious gem that he had possessed to many other people, especially the foreign people, the British resident. Uh, so let me give you some examples as to some British people representatives who had got a sight of the diamond. One person in 1830, after 1813, in 1 June, after Maharaja Ranjit Singh gets the possession of the diamond, in the 1830s, a 1830, there was a British traveler and a spy called Alexander Burns. He would get the sight of the diamond, and he would describe the diamond saying that it was in the shape of an egg. It was half the size of the egg, and it costed around 3 million rupees. Another British representative would also attest the same observation and say that it costed around 3 million rupees. If it was 3.5 million rupees attested by Alexander Burns, another representative would say it is around 3 million rupees, and he would also say that it was in the size of an egg, shape of an egg. If I go a little forward to 1838, on May 1838, there was a representative of British East India Company called William Osborne. So what actually prompted him to come here was that in the 1836 there was this possibility that Russia would invade Afghanistan. There was this East India Company which did not want Russia to invade Afghanistan, because if Russia comes to Afghanistan, it would be a danger to the empire, to the rule of East India Company to India, and therefore the Governor General of East India Company, called Lord Auckland, wanted that Maharaja Ranjit Singh to be an ally of British East India Company, to fight together to be able to invade Afghanistan and prevent Russia to come to have an influence over Afghanistan. Ranjit Singh would publicly he would accept this alliance, but privately he did not. So therefore he required some convincing, and in a bid to get this convincing, the brother of Lord Auckland, William Osborne, a British representative, would reach Lahore in 1838, or May 1838, and here Mr. William Osborne would get a sight of the Maharaja. He would describe the Maharaja saying that he was seated on a golden chair, cross-legged. He would wear a white colored clothes, and there would be pearls around his waist. And also there was the Koh-i-Noor diamond, which was strapped around the arm of the Maharaja, and it was William Osborne was quite impressed with that sight. Yeah, and so this is another evidence where a British representative would get a sight of the Koh-i-Noor diamond. So let me tell you one small fact about the friendship of Maharaja Ranjit Singh and the East India Company. Way back in 1809, now we are in 1838, way back in 1809, there was a treaty of friendship that was signed which set Satluj River as the boundary between the East India Company and the Punjab king ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So therefore there was this representative who came in 1838. So from 1838, if I go a little forward, on 27 June 1839, Maharaja Ranjit Singh was very sick, and that was the day that he would die also. But even before his death, he would order that the Koh-i-Noor diamond be transferred to the possession or donated to Puri Jagannath temple in Orissa. But that would not happen, and uh, even before this particular incident of how the diamond had reached into the British Mall, transferred to the British East India Company, there are some incidents as to how the diamond was kept in safety, how the arrangements were made to keep the diamond safe within the Maharaja. And this is the most important part of this video, or the most interesting part of this video. I told you that there were these representatives, the British representatives, Alexander Burns, another representative, a third representative called William Osborne, who would visit and get the sight of the diamond. Whenever Maharaja Ranjit Singh did not, I told you that William Osborne had seen Maharaja Ranjit Singh wear the diamond over his arm, strapped over his arm. Whenever Ranjit Singh did not use the diamond or did not wear the diamond, he would place it at a very secure treasury at a place called Gobindgarh, and it was a fort. It was a very secure fort, guarded by a special guard. And other than Maharaja Ranjit Singh, another person who had the possession of the diamond was his treasurer called Messer Beli Ram. So Messer Beli Ram would have the possession of the diamond, and whenever Maharaja had moved to various parts of his kingdom, probably for inspection, the diamond would sometimes be taken from the treasury and it would be moved along with the Maharaja. And there were some really tight security measures that were carried out when it was moved, and the measures were like this. Whenever Maharaja moved to some parts of his kingdom, there would be 40 camels which looked identical. They had these baskets over them, and there was a box, and the diamond would be kept on a box. Invariably, the diamond would be kept at the first camel, but these 40 camels are a way to disguise the location of the box or the diamond itself. So there was this huge entourage. So it made it difficult for the thief to actually find out where the box containing the diamond was, though it was invariably in the first camel, but it would put doubts in the minds of the thieves. So this was a really grand arrangement that was carried out to move the diamond along with the Maharaja. If the Maharaja moved to very distinct places, very far off places, even further layers of security were added. I told you Messer Beli Ram, the treasurer, he would carry out these security measures. There would be 3 different identical boxes, and there would be 2 replicas or glass replicas of the Koh-i-Noor diamond that would be put on those boxes, on 2 boxes, and in one box there will be the original one, and it would be placed on one of the camels. No one knows where the diamond would be on those camels except the treasurer, and they would be moved in that entourage. And whenever there would be a camp that will be set at night, the 3 boxes would be chained to the bed of the treasurer Messer Beli Ram, so that even if there is a possibility that a thief penetrates into the tight security of the camp, the thief would have to search for the diamond among the 3 boxes, and it was hoped that by this time Messer Beli Ram would probably slit the throat of the thief who had dared to penetrate into the security and steal the diamond. So you can see how much value was given to the diamond by the Maharaja, the kind of entourage that was kept. And I told you that initially when he was beautifying, when he got the diamond beautified, set in a particular way by the jewelers of Amritsar, it was in front of his eyes while that happened. And now whenever he moved he had a treasury also, a very strong, at a place called Gobindgarh, and the treasury was called Toshakana. And at this place, Gobindgarh, there was this very strong fort that was guarding the diamond, and there were these special guards also who were placed. So And I also talked about the entourage of camels, the kind of protection given to the diamond, the identical boxes, the glass replicas of the diamond. So ultimately, now coming back to 1839, 27 June, Maharaja was very sick and he had died on 27 June 1839. But before that, he had he had ordered that the diamond should be donated to the Puri Jagannath temple of Orissa, but that could not be done. At that time, the diamond was in the possession of the treasurer Mesa Beli Ram. Mesa Beli Ram had different intention or different ideas as to how the diamond should be perceived. According to Mesa Beli Ram, the diamond was not a possession of a personal possession, was not a personal possession of a king, but it was a possession of a sovereign state. In this case, the state is Punjab, the state of Punjab. So Mesa Beli Ram, uh, he believed in a um, certain philosophy. It was an ancient Indian principle called the philosophy of Chakravartin that was followed by the Mauryan Empire, which ruled India between 321 to 185 BC. And this philosophy said that it was the crown that was most important and not the king. And this philosophy was followed by Chandragupta Maurya much before um, Machiavelli, much before Machiavelli had written his prince, and he had his own set of cunning ideas that he was prescribing to different princes and kings. Way back in 321 to 185 BC, there was this philosophy, the philosophy of Chakravartin, which made the state more important than the people who are sitting at the position given by the state. So therefore, according to this Chakravartin philosophy, Mr. Messer Beli Ram had thought that it was not a personal possession of the Maharaja, it was a possession of the state, and whoever would be the next Maharaja would wear it on his arm or the bicep. So therefore, it could not be donated to the Puri Jagannath temple. Ultimately, I told you that in 1839 Maharaja would die, 27 June 1839. In 1843, on 1843, it would be the young son of Maharaja who would ascend the throne. In between, there are a lot of incidents that had occurred. I'm not going into all those incidents and the people who ascended the throne. I'll talk about right away about 1843. In 1843, the young son of Maharaja Ranjit Singh called Dulip Singh was ascend the throne. He was 5 years old, and in 1848, he would be asked to forcibly sign on a particular document. By that time, the East India Company had annexed Punjab. East India Company in 1809 had signed a treaty of friendship, keeping Sutlej as the boundary between the Kingdom of Sikhs and the East India Company. And now in 1849, they had annexed Punjab due to various reasons. We will not go into that reasons. And Dulip Singh, 10 years old, when he ascended the throne, he was 5. Now he was 10 years old. He had witnessed a lot of fighting in his kingdom. In front of him were nobles of the Sikh kingdom. Some of them were quite helpless. They could not help him too much. And some other people were corrupt as well. There were these British representatives who were in front of him, who had wanted him to sign on that document which transferred the territory of Punjab to the British East India Company. And another aspect of that document, among many other aspects, was the transfer of the possession of the Koh-i-Noor diamond. 10-year-old Dulip Singh just signed on the document, and the entire Punjab kingdom, headquartered at Lahore, went to East India Company, and with that, the Toshakhana, or the treasury of Lahore, also went to the East India Company. In effect, the Koh-i-Noor diamond. It was decided, once the treasury was taken and was under the responsibility of the East India Company, it was decided that it had to be transported to London to give it to the Queen of London, Queen Victoria. The entire treasury would be transported to London, but special care would be taken to transport the Koh-i-Noor diamond. So let me talk about the levels of security provided for the Koh-i-Noor diamond at this time. There would be three people who would be responsible. Just a second. There would be three people who would be responsible for keeping the Koh-i-Noor diamond separately. There was the board of three people that was formed, and these three people consisted of: one was a former resident of Lahore called Sir Henry Lawrence, the second one was the brother of Sir Henry Lawrence called John Lawrence, and the third was a long-standing civil servant called Charles G. Mansell. These three people were responsible for the safekeeping of the Koh-i-Noor diamond. And on one particular day, the Governor General of East India Company, let me tell you one more thing. The Governor General of East India Company, when East India Company had annexed Punjab, was a person called James Andrew Brown Ramsay, or he was also called Earl of Dalhousie. Earl was a title, a noble title for a noble person. So Dalhousie was the Governor General when East India Company annexed Punjab. He was the youngest Governor General of India, 35 years old, and he had ordered the triumvirate of people who were safekeeping the Koh-i-Noor diamond on a particular day on 1849 to shift the transfer of the Koh-i-Noor diamond to himself. And he had planned that the Koh-i-Noor diamond had to go in a certain way, in a planned fashion, to London. Firstly, it had to go from Lahore to Bombay, and from Bombay to London by sea. Overland from Lahore to Bombay, who would transport it? Dalhousie arranged for it, and you would be surprised to know the Governor General himself would take the diamond from Lahore to Punjab, and the thinking behind that was this. Sorry. The thinking was something like this. Dalhousie thought that if the diamond was transported in a large escort, it would be too suspicious. If the diamond was kept with a very small cavalry or a fast-moving cavalry, it would be too easy to pick on. So therefore, Dalhousie thought that if it was only him who would go to Lahore and take the diamond, because he was a Governor General, he would no one would suspect him his coming and going frequently. He generally frequently moves to Lahore, and no one would suspect him the reasons for his coming and going into Lahore, his arrival and departure out of Lahore. And therefore he thought he was the ideal person to take the diamond. If he came to Lahore, no one would suspect. If he goes back from Lahore, no one would suspect. There would be least amount of suspicion, and no one would really think that he would take the diamond and move to Bombay, and therefore he thought he would be the person who had to carry it from Lahore to Bombay. But strict arrangements were made to take the diamond from Lahore to Bombay. The arrangements were like this. Firstly, Dalhousie would ask his own wife to stitch a very soft pouch where the diamond would be kept, and then he would and the pouch would be designed in such a way that he would wear it underneath his shirt. So basically there would be a chain at the bottom of the pouch, and he would wear the chain over his neck, and then the pouch would be underneath his shirt. And even if the chain was exposed because Dalhousie had removed his upper portion of the shirt because of winter, because of the summer conditions, people would not suspect it, because a chain might possibly carry a locket or a crucifix, so suspicion will be low. So such arrangements were made. Not only that, Dalhousie had another person to accompany him, and this person was the nephew of Dalhousie, he was a former soldier as well, James Ramsay, his name was. He, along with Dalhousie, had started on a journey, but there were two other companions who had followed these two people, and these were the pet dogs of Dalhousie called Banda and Baron. And these pet dogs would be chained to the bed of Dalhousie whenever there was a camp for the night to give protection to the diamond. And the diamond was in a box. So they would start from Lahore on a certain date in 1849-1850 time, and they would reach Bombay on 1st February 1850. But in between, There was nothing eventful that happened. There was only one small incident which was successfully negotiated, and that incident was at the outskirts of Punjab at a place called Dera Ghazi Khan. It was notorious for robbers and all. Dalhousie had to suddenly go on business, and he would transfer the possession of the diamond to his nephew, Mr. James Ramsay. And Dalhousie would order Mr. Ramsay that he had to keep the diamond, and he had to. It was in a box actually. It would be put in a box and then put in a certain chest, and Ramsay had to sit on that particular treasure chest, kind of a chest it was. And you can really imagine the plight of Mr. James Ramsay. He would be sitting on hours on that chest inside a tent, holding a gun. Dalhousie would come back to the camp, and he would take the diamond again, and both of them would reach Bombay on, I told you, February 1, 1850. But again in Bombay, Dalhousie had to wait for a few more months because there was no ship that would carry the diamond from Bombay to London. Dalhousie did not, despite being a Governor General, did not expedite the matter because that would lead to suspicion. So again, an aspect of security that was paid attention to. So they had to wait for 2 more months, and in the meanwhile, the possession of the diamond was transferred to the Bombay Treasury. It was not transferred just like that. 3 layers of protection were added to it. Firstly, it would be put in an iron safe and then locked, and then there would be another box in which the safe would be put into, and that box would be sealed with the tape, and there would be a waxing, and also sealed with a wax, to make it look like it was some diplomatic box that was bound to Westminster, and a box consisting of official papers. Not only that, that entire box would be kept in another chest, which would have 2 locks. So one box, 1 lock, second box, another lock, third box, 2 locks, total 4 locks there would be 4 locks, which would ensure the safekeeping of the diamond. And there'll be 3 boxes, and this entire box was kept in the Bombay Treasury. Ultimately, after 2 months, on 6th April 1850, there would be a Navy ship that would be ready to take the diamond to London, and it was commanded by a naval commander called William Lockyer. And the responsibility to carry the diamond to London was not only with the captain but also 2 other people. That did not include Dalhousie. It included 2 other people, which included the nephew of Dalhousie, a former soldier of East India Company, the same man, the James Ramsay, and a representative of the members of East India Company in London called Leyden Street Hall. The name of that representative is Colonel J. Mackinson. So there were these 3 people who knew about the diamond being on the board of a Navy ship called Media. It was a steamship. There were 135 crew members. It was not a passenger ship, Navy ship. And the diamond would leave the shores of Bombay on 6th April 1850. So ultimately, once that happened, after 10 years or more, after 10 days or more, there was another incident that would occur. It was known that the members of the crew were infected with a disease called cholera. The 2 members would also die beneath the deck, and many of the members complained of nausea and dysentery and diarrhea. The captain, John Lockyer, had assured his own people that there was an island that was coming nearby. It was the Mauritius Island. They would get food and they would get treatment in the form of through doctors. Once they reached the island, they got the unexpected. The authority in the island did not want the ship to anchor at that place. At Mauritius, they wanted the ship to go away. The captain did not budge. Then the authorities had told him that they would gun down the ship and it would be drowned ultimately. But after some prolonged negotiation, it was decided that some coal would be transferred. It was a steamship, isn't it? So some coal would be transferred. Other than that, some medicine was thrown onto the shore, but no food and water were provided. But the crew did not have any other option but to go ahead. They were fear stricken. They would also encounter a strong storm after some days. They had to fend it off. People had feared that the ship would also break into two at one point, but nothing of such happened. Ultimately, in 30 June 1850, they would reach the shores of a place called Plymouth in London, and the crew members would deboard after that, but the Diamond would stay on board. It would have to travel for one more day to another place called Portsmouth of England, and ultimately the Diamond would be transferred to the officials of the East India Company, and it would reach the Queen Victoria and also the crown of the Queen. It would find a place at the front of the crown, and it still has that same place even today. I hope that you found this video about the story of the Koh-i-Noor diamond interesting, and how it has transferred from one king to another, one dynasty to another, and ultimately to the British Empire. So thank you very much.